finally got that buzz cut because your hair was just overly fried, it was just damaged, and you needed a fresh start. And because it was damaged or thinned out, when you were actually had that long hair, it was kind of a hassle to take care of because especially during detangling, it's just rougher. Like your hair strands are just rough when it's just thin and damaged, and it's more prone to being tangled, and detangling sessions took like 2 to 3 hours for you, and it shouldn't take that long. I would show you, or I would explain 3 components that are really the main components. Well, that's 4. The 3 components, right, that are the most important, one of the most important. We're trying to have a faster hair growth rate that's actually with healthy hair. And just overall, just keep your hair strong and healthy and moisturized. They are the 3, I would say these are the 3 biggest external factors that you can control through your hair care habits to try to boost that hair growth rate and just have healthy hair and not damaged hair. These are moisture retention, scalp health, and length retention. Those 3 components, in my opinion, are the biggest external factors that you can control. So if you don't know me, I'm Josh J Showcase. I'm formerly on TikTok, but I'm here to expand my insights here on YouTube in this kind of long form content so I can ramble more and I can give more insight and help many guys out there. I help thousands of guys already through my content on TikTok to just help them grow out healthy and long hair to make them look more presentable as a black man, because you know, kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to our hair. I know I said this previously. We can't, you know, get texture powder, some gel, scrunch it in together, you know, walk out the door. We need a little bit more effort, but it's not as much effort as you think. Boom, we're gonna go back to it. So the 3 components are, like I said, moisture retention, length retention, and scalp health. We're gonna start with moisture retention. And basically what moisture retention is just moisturizing your hair and keeping it in your hair through the longest amount of time that you can. And we want to intensely moisturize our hair and actually keep it in our hair because it will just protect our hair even more, because moisturized hair is naturally just stronger and healthier than just dry hair. So one of the first hair care habits that I'm gonna give y'all or show y'all is the LOC/LCO method, which is just an acronym of the sequence of products that you apply to your hair to try to moisturize your hair. The L stands for a liquid, which is water. The O stands for a hair oil. And the C stands for a cream or a leave-in conditioner. And I encourage y'all to just try out each one of these methods, the LOC and LCO, both of these sequences, and whichever one gives you the least amount of product buildup and the most moisture, you stick to it. And you only do this once after washing your hair, once a week after washing your hair. You don't do this every day like the traditional moisturizing method bullshit, you know, applying product into your hair, just drowning your hair in product, just for it to be product built up and just dry again as the week goes on. This method, the LOC, you just have to re-moisturize your hair with a mist bottle because the ingredients, the moisturized ingredients are already in your hair. They just need to sort of be reactivated again, right? Just misting your hair with water. Or if you have hair that tends to lose moisture fast, you can just use a water-based leave-in conditioner, something very light, and then just mix your hair with water first, and then you just spray the leave-in conditioner in your hair just in the middle of the week. So yeah, the LOC method just really emphasizes moisture retention because you don't have to apply another single product into your hair because your hair is just extremely moisturized throughout the week. Because of the sequence of products, especially the oil, really seals in all that moisture from the moisturizing cream and the water. And man, as soon as I discovered this method, this has been a game changer for me. I used to try to moisturize my hair every single day, and it just ended up dry. But when I switched to this method after washing my hair, 1, I'm saving time because I don't have to wake up earlier to try to moisturize my hair. And 2, my hair is just naturally stronger and healthier, and it actually looks moisturized throughout the week. The second hair care habit that is so easy to do is just wear something protective over your head for moisture retention. Because say if you've done the LOC method, you know, you spent, around 30 minutes trying to do this method if your hair is longer. You spend 30 minutes trying to do this method, right? It was the evening, and boom, you're tired as hell. You lay your head on that cotton pillowcase, and when you wake up the next morning, your hair is just dry as shit. But you did all that moisturizing because that cotton material just sucked the moisture out of your hair. It just absorbed it like a vacuum. Material like that, we want to avoid contact with that with our hair. So the best way to do this is just spend like $3 to $5 on like a bonnet or a do-rag or a lock cap. Put it over your head because the silk material does not suck the moisture out of your hair. It actually helps retain that moisture in our hair. So once we did all that hard work of moisturizing our hair, we're not just left next day with just dealing with the hassle of trying to re-moisturize again. We could go to bed with our hair moisturized and wake up with our hair moisturized. And you know, if you don't really want that feminine look, especially if you have a girl over, you can just get a silk pillowcase. It does the same exact thing as a bonnet. If you want more information about moisture retention, you know, the hair care habits that really emphasize moisture retention, along with the several other components and essential hair care habits that you need to follow to really transform your afro. So you can look more presentable as a black man, you know, land more opportunities, because whether you like it or not, being more attractive and presentable automatically makes you more prone to having opportunities like that. I have an online video course that really covers the essential hair care habits that could actually transform your afro, so you're not stuck doing that non-essential bullshit. In that online video course, I take you on a roadmap, a framework that I follow that makes me crack almost 3.5 hours a week caring for my hair, and I have longer hair. The first link in my description down below in this video. So if you're interested and really interested in that type of stuff, really having that competitive advantage against other men, you can check that out. Next off, we're going to cover scalp health, which is one of the 3 biggest components, the external factors that you can control to try to grow out your hair. So just having a healthy scalp is literally the foundation of hair growth. You know, the hair follicles are deep into your scalp, and if you don't take care of your scalp, whatever hair comes out, whatever hair grows out, one, it may be just extremely damaged and more prone to being thinned out, or 2, you just have stunted hair growth because you just have a whole load of product buildup on your scalp, and it's just kind of blocking those hair follicles from like just growing out to their potential. And a healthy way to actually treat your scalp is through hair oils, which many hair oils contain ingredients and nutrients that try to increase the potential of your hair follicles so they can actually grow to their potential. So there are 2 types of oils I want to go over with y'all, and there are essential oils and carrier oils. Now, essential oils are the oils that are heavily concentrated, and these are the type of oils that you find in your sort of like in your aroma diffusers who try to make your house smell better. These are the oils that we do not want to apply directly to our scalp, because that is going to be way too much for our scalp. That could cause some irritation. And these are also the type of oils that directly just really stimulate those hair follicles, because they are just so potent, they are so concentrated. And these are oils such as lavender oil and peppermint oil. 2 very great oils, but we need to dilute them before applying them directly to our scalp. And we dilute them with the carrier oils, which carrier oils are the ones that really just hydrate and nourish our scalp. They are the purpose behind using these type of oils, to just make sure our scalp is moisturized and healthy. So it is just best to get a bottle that has a mix of these essential and carrier oils, which I know an oil that a lot of y'all are claiming to be like the holy grail for hair growth. It's called Wild Hair Growth Oil, I believe. And I can understand why many people are saying they're experiencing great results with this oil, because it has oils such as coconut oil, jojoba oil, which are carrier oils, and they actually have the essential oils of lavender and peppermint oil. And all those oils are great for just boosting your scalp's health and making sure your hair is moisturized, including your scalp, and actually stimulating your hair follicles. I would say that because of the types of oils used, I would say there's a risk of sort of like product buildup, especially for low porosity folks, which having low porosity, your hair is just less acceptable to just sucking in moisture. It's more stubborn in just absorbing moisture and actually keeping it in your hair. So using heavier concentrated products, including oils, would just increase that risk of just the oil just sitting on top of your scalp and not really absorbing it in. I recommend you still try that oil, but if you just see a whole lot of product buildup from it, just use another bottle with just lighter oils. And yeah, just establish an oiling routine on your scalp 2 to 3 times a week. You don't want to do this every day, because if you do this every day, I'm telling you, your hair and your scalp would just be so built up, going to be just weighed down, and it really defeats the purpose of using the oils, because if you just use the oils every day, your scalp is just screaming for help. It needs to breathe, man. So yeah, 2 to 3 times a week at most is enough. And you actually want to massage the oil into really just making sure the oil just absorbs through your scalp and your hair follicles actually absorb the oils. If you don't massage your scalp, it's a higher risk of, you know, that oil just sitting on top of your head, and then it would just eventually just sort of like dry up and then it just cause a whole lot of product buildup, defeats the purpose of improving your scalp's health. And finally, the last component that we will focus on is length retention. And the hair care habits, well, the practice that you can follow is a proper detangling routine and using protective styles to your advantage. So we're gonna start out with the protective style. So just imagine, this strand of hair, right? As 100 hair strands. Say that we just naturally shed like 60 of those hair strands without the protective styles. We have a net profit of like 40 hair strands a month. Say if we have protective styles like cornrows in. Say that we leave them for like a month. Those 100 hair strands, right here in this chunk of hair, we shed it like 45 instead of 60. We gained a net profit of 15 hair strands. And I know that number is probably way off, but it's just imagery. The main takeaway from this imagery is just that length retention allows us to retain more hair strands, retain more length, because we're just limiting the amount of manipulation that we're giving our hair if our hair is in the protective style compared to if we had an afro up. And plus, protective styles are just way better at just sealing in moisture and protecting our hair, especially our ends of our hair. So less manipulation and less breakage. That's basically length retention. And length retention just gives off the illusion that your hair is growing at a faster rate. But on the times where you don't have a protective style in, you still want to follow a proper detangling routine. One of the main reasons you probably just buzzed out off of your hair because your hair was just extremely thinned out, you had a boneless afro. One of the main hair care habits that you probably did, the unhealthy habit, which is detangling your hair, picking your hair every single day, right before school or even during school on dry hair. Started from the roots to the ends, just try to get all the tangles out, get in that perfect round shape. Sometimes you need to just embrace the shrinkage, but still detangle your hair once a week on wet and conditioned hair, started from the ends to the roots right before your wash day. The reason why you want to do all of these is because 1, it's less manipulation on your hair strands. 2, an easier wash day, because once you get rid of all those knots and tangles prior to your wash day, just shampooing your hair, just washing your hair is way easier and you end up with less shedding, because if you try to detangle your hair after washing your hair, you're more prone to having more tangles and knots, unnecessary knots and tangles, because the water kind of weighs down. The washing motion kind of amplifies your tangles, and we don't want that. Detangling is already a hassle for us, especially with the type 4 hair. And also, one more thing, before using the comb on that detangling routine once a week, I recommend for y'all to finger detangle. And finger detangling really emphasizes length retention, because you're not just ripping through the knots and tangles, like those big knots with the comb. You're gently removing them with your fingers. So once you then jump into that comb, you're not just ripping out those knots and tangles and just losing more hair. You're shedding more than you're supposed to be. That unnecessary shedding. So yeah, protective styles and a proper detangling routine really emphasizes length retention. Man, that's all I have for y'all. You could come back to this video if you want more insight or you feel like you have missed anything in this video. And I'll see you on the next one. See ya.